Hey guys, so we just watched the Hey guys, Ryan right here.
I'm Jerry.
We're gonna we already did we watched the trailer for X-Men Apocalypse and we're gonna review it. X-Men Apocalypse. I already see that this movie is getting a lot of backlash from the trailer.
Is it? Oh.
Yeah, even Tyrone Magnus didn't like the trailer.
Interesting. Okay. Why didn't he like the trailer?
I don't remember. He's not a big fan of Bryan Singer to begin with. One thing that I really like they're doing is, granted, yes, we have not read the comics, okay, of Apocalypse. Already, that's going to upset some of you for some reason. Like, you shouldn't even be talking about it. Why? It's a fucking movie trailer. Like, you totally talk about a movie
Look,
trailer.
like it or not, everybody gets to see a movie.
Yeah.
So, we're bringing that perspective. Hey, maybe the guy who hasn't read the comics is on the fence about this, and we could help, perhaps, with that.
Yeah, and I think Apocalypse, just from a movie standpoint of how they're promoting him, looks wonderful. He seems intimidating. He seems like he has every fucking power there is,
Yes, they're certainly building him up to be intimidating, scary, and capable of destroying the whole world and not just a part of the country.
Yeah.
To pick a villain that has sort of a mythic origin, that actually makes it bigger than bigger than life a little bit, and that's scarier.
And one thing is, I felt like Days of Future Past, the way that was being promoted was look at the huge cast we have assembled. We got all your favorite X-Men in one movie,
Well, and it's going to make up for fucking it up, we're giving you everything.
Yeah. Days of Future Past, I think, was a great setup for X-Men Apocalypse, because what I loved about the trailer was it wasn't look at Apocalypse's powers throughout the whole fucking trailer. We're mainly just going to show you destruction shots.
Yeah.
It's really shots of the characters, and you see how it's going to affect them on a much more personal level.
Well, and half this trailer is also just them doing research.
Yeah.
So it almost looks like not in the way that the Da Vinci Code is silly, but it looks like it has that sort of Da Vinci Code style thriller, but cooler, perhaps better.
Yeah, exactly.
If an X-Men movie was also a Da Vinci Code movie, because they're working out this guy who's all of the major, religions and beliefs are really based on him. It's going down that rabbit hole.
As far as marketing goes, I get what they're doing with Jennifer Lawrence. It feels Hunger Game-ish. It's this isn't Mystique to me,
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of what I'm worried about with her in these kinds of movies. We get a lot of that kind of character in these movies that is dour all the time and always looks on the verge of tears and is a martyr for their society. And I just hope that they keep at least some life in that character.
I'm hoping that
because it's not bad, but just when they give her these roles where she kind of just has to look like she's about to cry the whole time, I'm just I want to see something more. I know you have more in your toolbox.
What I'm worried they'll do is put so much focus on her because she's the fucking superstar of this movie. I'm hoping that they don't just put too much on her, because there's other mutants that I find more interesting than her. One thing I like too is that they're really promoting a villain, and this villain is the first villain in the X-Men franchise of the movies where they're we're gonna promote the shit out of the villain, make him really scary.
Point, yeah.
Magneto was always he was a bad guy, but even the primary villains of the movies, they never quite promoted that. No one really knew what Kevin Bacon was gonna be in X-Men First Class until they saw the film.
Well, and I guess so many of the other movies sort of focus on things going on within the X-Men, and it's trying to get so many people to work together, and how their organization is perhaps being attacked or destroyed.
Yeah.
And so it's always more about the struggle of the X-Men than it is oh, we're doing this villain now.
And and it feels like a thriller, like a suspenseful apocalyptic thriller.
I mean, it certainly looks intense.
You can count on the X-Men movies to be fairly serious for the most part. There's always a dash of humor here and there, but it's primarily a serious film. And I feel we got the Age of Ultron epicness with the Avengers, but that was a lot more humorous and more fun. And I feel this one will provide that more serious, dark, heavy, epic vibe that I feel the X-Men movies could really I like how the X-Men movies have expanded into a much bigger universe. Now we got the time travel, and then now we have this the first mutant, it's getting bigger. I like where they're taking the franchise.
Aesthetically, because X-Men is a different studio's movie and they have different creative behind it. There's something I've always kind of liked about the X-Men films, because They feel a little bit different from all the other superhero films. They might have my favorite balance of tones there, because the X-Men films on occasion will hint at something deeper. The thing about this movie is, like, the problem with superhero movies now is every movie has to try and convince you that this time, though, this is the highest the stakes have ever been. And they struggle, which is why we have, you know, less than memorable villains in a lot of these movies lately. And this movie is the first trailer I've seen in a while where I'm like, yeah, I think this could be the most intense adventure yet. Like,
especially because
I'm a little worried that this, like, I know he's not, but I'm a little worried this guy's gonna destroy the world.
Exactly.
You know?
It's just the trailer, and I'm already like, how will they beat this guy?
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. It's like, you really want to see how they pay this off, because it's got to be something.
It's like, I can't figure out at all how they're gonna beat him. Wolverine stabs him in the back of the neck.
Be just like, no, it's like a lot of movies will have that where they're like, it's this big all-powerful villain, and then when it comes time to be like, but how do we defeat him? The answer is just like stun him a lot and punch him.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's like, maybe this will require some actual ingenuity.
They did that with Fantastic Four.
Did they really?
They just punch him a few times. Does the trick.
This looks like it could at least, you know, live up to that level of like, oh my god.
And I'm intrigued to see the story of Jean Grey. And most importantly, I'm intrigued to see the story of how Charles Xavier became bald. That was my favorite moment, when they were like, this is the one where we learn how he becomes bald.
I'm bummed. I like his hair.
I like his hair too.
I liked it when he had hair and a beard.
You know, it looks kind of weird bald, huh?
Yeah.
No one could quite pull it off like Patrick Stewart.
Well, and partly because, like, most people got to know Patrick Stewart. A lot of people, at least our age, got to know Patrick Stewart when he was already bald. So it's like, you don't have to make the update. Whereas, like, if you associate a guy with having hair and then he shows up bald, you're like, oh shit.
Anyway, guys, listen. If you're new to this channel, you can climb this button. You can subscribe to this button by subscribing to The Real Rejects. Jerry has a playlist on this channel. Reasons to Jerry, Dank Ass Stubs,
I do have
podcast hosted by Jerry. I will be guest starring on there soon, so keep a lookout for that. Listen, follow us on our social networks, because if we get enough followers, we can get product placement for things such as condoms. We need condoms, Jerry.
Why?
Why do we
need condoms?
It's dangerous.
What is?
We need condoms for what we're about to do.
Okay.
Anal sex.
I know. No, you're...
You thought I could go a whole video without making a perverted joke. Guess what?
Man, I hadn't even realized it's how
Here it
natural it
is.
felt.
Anal sex.
I'm not having anal sex with you.
Yes, you are.
Don't
Look
put
at me in the
anything
eyes.
in,
Look at
in
me in the
my
eyes.
in me bum.
Look at me in the eyes. We're having anal sex.
I couldn't keep it straight. It was either break contact or keep a straight face.